Hey there, welcome to a Friday night edition of KitSZN. We're joined here by two great people. I'm joined here by two great people here to kind of help talk kits with me here tonight. Gentlemen, how are we doing tonight?
Fantastical.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Excited
What a great place to be.
talking to adults instead of reminding my babies if they have to go potty or not. Day 3 of potty training with two almost 3-year-olds. It's fun is what I'm going to use. No, it's been fun. It's really cool to see them growing and learning and understanding. They've been doing an awesome job.
Well, hopefully you don't get too much poop and pee all over the place while trying to teach them. So try to how to be functioning adult humans. I almost said adults.
Tiny.
Before we get started here, FFSDC, y'all gonna be the reason I go broke after watching these LMAO.
We got you, honestly,
bro. I've gone more broke because of the show, and I help run it. So I understand that sentiment. Yeah. I now buy more kits than I did before because I now have more knowledge of kits. So I'm glad we're of service, but I'm sorry for your wallet. So
buy local,
Yeah.
If you want to go to the big teams, we have a good website that makes fake jerseys.
But otherwise, at a certain point though, knowing so much about these kits and the care that was put in them, it feels irresponsible not to support. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, the local teams, like the USL teams and stuff like that. I'm saying if you want the new Man United jersey, stuff like that.
I have no qualms with those big, massive $1 billion clubs. Yeah, I don't care.
Right, yeah.
I don't care if I'm ripping them off like $20, $30, but these small teams, no. I almost feel like I do a disservice if I'm not spending my cash on them. Especially after we interview them too.
Right. Yeah. If somebody from Maine United wants to interview with us, that would be.
Yeah. Nah, ain't happening. They're more likely to fire their own little staff. Anyways, but before we get started here tonight, obviously Loudoun, as FFSDU's profile picture shows, will be on tonight's docket, and it's honestly, I personally will like it. We'll get into it. Scores may not reflect it, but we'll get into it. It's honestly Loudoun keeps doing their thing, but before we get started, as we always have to do, shout out to these lovely patrons down below. You help us do what we do best, and that's talk about kits and get, opinions and get to talk with other designers across the U.S. On how they do things. So shout out to John Hunt, Frank Anthony, Christopher Cohn, Harry Austin, John Fuller, Michael Foots, Joshua Duder, Noah Telford, Alberto Aguilar, Jeremy Churchman, Stephen Howard, Ryan Lacara, Tim Knotts, NF Reg 30, MOS, Dunal Patal, all of the Hedgehog. I don't see the rest of the names. Ryan Smelter, all y'all. The list keeps growing, and shout out to goals.tv. Check out some exclusive content on there. And I want to give a shout out to Hugh the Smoke, who is also can be found on goals.tv. So shout out to my friends out there. So get right into it, Mr. FFSDCU. We're going to jump right into the band. We're going to jump right into this and hit up Loudoun United. And honestly, they have always one of the best kit collections in the last 2-3 years, I'd say. They've really done well.
Yeah, if you're a Loudoun fan, there's no way that you're paying rent.
Especially after last season. I'm not going to lie. Last season's might have been one of the best we've seen in a minute. With the uniqueness and the creativity that they put into their kits.
With the shadow and the pinwheel, they just went banger after banger.
And this year they went a little differently.
I don't think so.
But FFSDCU says apparently their Loudoun an away kit has a food stain that won't come out.
Yeah.
That's done.
That's
I know that feel.
Yes.
If it's small enough, I know a guy who can make it into a bucket hat. And then you have a dope, unique bucket hat or a cross bag.
Yeah, one of those cross bags.
Fanny pack, but wear it as a cross bag.
Or we didn't find someone to deep stain clean it and maybe get out of it, because it is a white kit, and we all know white kits can get stained.
Yeah, easy.
But that's actually the kit we're rating tonight, which is the Loudoun United. It's called the Light Kit here. And honestly, if this pops up, that's way zoomed in. This is, if you know me on the show, and I think Austin and Foss, you all definitely know this, I am a good sucker for a white kit. And this, for aesthetically, for me to wear, I love kits like this. It won't do well grading wise. I keep saying that every time I come upon these white kits, but I'll rock these all day, every day, because they just look good. They're the simple kits of my collection, and I love to rock them. So, and I love what they kind of did with the accents of the black, and then a little bit of the fading with the gradients, the stripes down below. But that's, before I get more into details, that's my initial take on this kit.
Yeah, I really like how they did this, almost with the pinstripes, but then you have the Pegasus throughout the kit. It's kind of hard to see from a distance. It's like the shadow kit from last year. It's in there, and that's kind of my bread and butter that I just love, is that defined detailing, the little pieces in there. Yeah, there you go. So you see all the different stripes, but then on the white stripes throughout the middle, you see the Pegasus going through. I absolutely love it. This is my type of white kit. White kit with the fine detailing in there.
Yeah.
If I had to give one critique, it's that I would have liked for there to have been a little bit more black. Specifically, where we're zoomed in right now, Capelli has that kind of triangle insert.
Yeah.
And that's kind of odd. It reminds me of hockey jerseys often have that sort of insert.
That's true.
But here, I would have rather have seen like the whole V-neck collar be black, because then that would kind of balance off the sleeve cuffs. I have found myself collecting black and white kits. That seems to be a soft spot or a weak spot for me. But specifically, it's when you have that black in the collar and black in the sleeve trim, it kind of frames it really nicely.
Yeah.
And here, I feel like it's a missed opportunity. It's different, and I'll give them credit for that. But that black, why do our eyes need to be drawn to that little section on the collar? That's the least interesting part. But because of that little black bit, it kind of overshadows some of the other things that are going on. So, I think similarly, I do like that it's not just a plain white kit, that they have the Pegasus stripes, but it does seem pretty basic. If you would do this for any other team, just take their main logo or animal or whatever icon and repeat it. It's pretty basic in terms of creativity, but it is effective.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the point that you were given, Fox, there earlier. Like, it is kind of like faded a little bit, the gray, that Pegasus shape, because of what Austin more sophisticatedly said, with the colors and like where your attention goes to. You don't quite see that right away. You see kind of the black and white contrast more than you see some of those nicer details. And I think that could certainly be a choice here.
Yep.
Is this going to be paired with white shorts or black shorts?
That's a great question. And let me see the photos that they have.
Because on the left there, they're wearing them with black pants, and that kind of works because you do have that additional black to contrast. I'm doubting that that's what they'll end up wearing in game if this is going to be an away kit, right?
I'm going to look it up here. Yeah, I'm going to look it up here. But Fox, you want to give your scores while I go trying to dig some actual match footage?
Yeah. So design and aesthetics, I don't know, I went 5 on this just because I feel like everything works really well design-wise. Now, completely hear what Austin is saying, and I mean, even FFS DCU says that he would have, or they would have loved a different design pattern than the Pegasus, in their opinion. And I get what you're saying, but also when it goes to authenticity and tradition, that's why I give this a 4, because this is something that Loudoun does. Is they utilize their badge, their crest, their Pegasus, and it's always some sort of pattern throughout it. Does it shout out to the city or the town? Not necessarily, but I mean, is it that creative? I guess now that I think about it, no, but it's what they do, and I appreciate that that's the tradition that they're building with that. But then visual details and then the execution part, this is where I agreed with Austin. I feel like this is where it got its 4. It went down. It could clearly be better. Maybe those parts be darker. I do agree with the color. The black triangle is very off-putting. Like, just make the whole collar black. So then, because then it matches the capelli squares, it matches the sleeve cuff. It all makes sense then. Then innovation and impact, I gave it 3. Is it really that innovative that they're just using the pattern of their badge? No, they've done it last year. So, and are we going to remember this in the years? How much impact is this going to have? Probably not going to hit home. So, but overall, I mean, it's a strong 4 for me. I feel like any Loudoun fan should want this kit, and some collectors, especially if you're a white kit collector, I feel like you would want to pick this up.
I would agree with that. And Austin, to your point, they do wear white shorts with them, so not black.
Good enough.
So at least I found it when they were playing Lexington, who was wearing their all black jersey with that green. So they wore the white, and it was white on white. So I hope they have the option for black shorts. So I think that would look really good. Yeah. So as Bob said, this is, he gave it a 4, which is honestly a pretty solid white kit. For a white kit, this is pretty good.
And for me, because I am not a white kit collector.
That is fair. That is fair.
As I'm wearing a white kit. But
but for me here, I have a little different style. Obviously, I would rock this every day. And as I said, I love this white kit. They always look good. But I gave it a 3 for design and aesthetics. I think it looks smooth-ish overall. I think it works for an away kit. I think that's the important fact here. It's a white kit with some detailing and a little splash of color, if you count the black as a color. In this instance, and it's not just completely white. So I'm okay with that. Even though, as Thoughts point out, they use the Pegasus in the crest throughout, kind of the stripe pattern. I only gave it a 2 there for authenticity and tradition. With the visual details and execution, I gave it a 3 as well. This is just a simple white kit with a little bit of detail. It's not anything like super over the top or granular, as you kind of did see in some of the other kits across the USL. With the innovation, it's just a white kit. I gave it a 3, probably a little generous there, but as it is basically just a white kit, and most people probably forget about this unless you're from the area. So the 275 from me with Fox's 4. It's a solid 338 for a white kit. Honestly, we've rated much, much worse, and I would be more than okay with this kit, and I would definitely pick this up. So that's just a me thing.
It's a clean kit, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I had a crazy idea just now as you were talking, Brett, looking at FFS DCU's comment. What if they had taken the pinwheel and put that as a really faint gray pattern instead of the stripes? With how popular the pinwheel was, it's an opportunity to take something that's a really loud design and give it a second life by making it really subtle. Might not have worked, but just something else that would have been a little bit more exciting than, you have a lot of Pegasi, I don't know what the plural is, in a straight line, right? That's pretty minimal. You could have put them diagonally, or you could have done something else, but the pinwheel would be kind of like the ultimate version of that. Hey, let's take something crazy and let's put it on, since it's going to be muted anyway. That kind of makes it a little bit tame.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing that I wish they would have played a little bit more with either of their kits that they released this year, was that pinwheel again.
Yeah.
It's low-key kind of a cult classic, last year's home kit, and I wish they would have just kept with that. At least hints of it here or there in their 2 kits they released this year. They didn't quite do that. So, and I'm totally on board with that idea. Any quick thoughts otherwise, Austin, or thoughts? You have something?
I was just wondering though, like if they did the pinwheel, if they hit home with the pinwheel again, would people be like, oh, they did that last year?
As long as
we've already seen this.
As long as they did it differently, I don't think we would be saying that. If they would have done the exact same thing, yes, I think there could be some argument for that. But I think if they would have used it in a different creative way, I don't think we'd have that conversation.
I think if anything now, just the fact that it's Pegasus, it's like, we get it. That's your thing, and you should be proud of it, but it is very repetitive here. So I think anything else would have been a nice, well, at least they tried something different,
Yeah. And it is a white kit too. As we always say, white kits can be born anyway. So I'm happy they at least put some effort into making it not just a white kit. So, which we've seen more teams do, but still far too many don't. Yeah. So with this here, I think what was this retailed at? I am looking at my scroll. Yeah, at $85 from Capelli. You're not going to go wrong with that. And especially from there, you might even get a discount if you're a season ticket holder. I know Indy does that. This comes out to be a $39.71 kit value, which is pretty solid. It's not the bottom. It's somewhere in the middle, which is exactly where this kit ranking comes from. And I think that's a good score for a white kit, I'd say. So, I mean, we've seen better, and there are 3 others that are at least better than this. So I don't expect that to be too crazy to think a white kit isn't high upon many people's lists.
People don't worry about the white kits yet.
Yeah. So as the FFSDCU says once again, agree if they utilize the pinwheel but made it slightly different last year, it would have been fine with that. And I think that's the sentiment. And I think that's one of the things that we've kind of talked about here, Fox, you and I, is teams who try to build an identity with their kits. And they had that with the pinwheel last year. I'd like to see that continue going forward.
Maybe next year.
Maybe next year. If we keep pressuring them, FFSDCU, that's an acronym. I'm going to mess it up one of these times. Pressure them into bringing back the pinwheels in some way, shape, or form. If it's sleeves, if it's subtle, I don't care how. Bring back the pinwheel, and we will advocate for that on the show. So,
I bet they're taking notes right now.
Yes, right now they're taking all their notes. I think we've all said that we all would at this point. So, yeah. So that is the Loudoun United Light kit for 2025. I would say overall, given the 2 kits that they released this year compared to last year, a slight downgrade, a little bit more simple compared to what we saw last year with the Shadow. And I think also this year as well, they still wear it. The Shadow with the pinwheel kit, I think they look really good. I think this year is just a little bit of a downgrade, but that's fine. Sometimes you go bold one year, you go a little bit more subtle the next. So, but they still look good and hurts people's wallets. So, yeah. So this next one, if you listened to our interview last weekend, I think it was, with Cassidy Sabinski, hope I'm saying that last name right. And so you would know that we kind of talked about this kit, and our friend here got a little, well, he was definitely affected by what we were talking about when we were talking about this kit and kind of the impact behind it. It's a solid kit. And for us to, for our scores, honestly, pretty straightforward for us. This is the Minnesota Aurora Brighter Together kit. And for the 2 of us, this is what we're looking for. There's no notes. It's creative. It's fun. It also pays homage to the area, to kind of a tradition, especially amongst the Midwest and across the world with, I can't remember the words on top of my head. I think
Yeah.
Quilting, thank you. Yes. And just kind of that identity and just weaves it, yes, into a kit that is both fun, creative, and something that anyone who picks it up knows they will look good in it. So I don't have really anything else to say about it. Fox, do you have anything? I know you.
Yeah, this is something that I really want to pick up. It's on my Christmas list or my birthday list.
Yes.
July 25th, guys, coming up. Father's Day is coming up.
Crowdfund
Anyways,
me.
but yeah, this is something that I feel like any Midwestern would appreciate, but we talked about like anybody throughout the world would appreciate this. Now I will say, like, it's out there, so I can understand if somebody doesn't want to wear something this loud, but this is loud and proud, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And when we talked with the interview with Cassidy, there's also this bit of if we go through these photos here and we go dive into this on our interview, there's a bit of like a story and a togetherness from, I swear, okay, it was a different photo shoot, not in here, but it's supposed to like bring people together, and there's really this deep message of community and bringing generations together, which is why the Brighter Together kit is got its name, and it kind of helps bring different people, different generations together, and in this case, under one banner of Minnesota Aura. So we love the message, we love the idea, but more importantly here, I also want to hear what Austin you got to say from someone else who was also in that interview and not quite rating them like we are.
Yeah, I think you guys hit on a lot of great points. This is obviously a very meaningful kit, and it's really neat to see the evolution of Cassidy as a designer who, previously had done a lot of those famous Ford Madison kits from back in the day, which were very loud and in your face. Fox, you said this is a loud kit. I would agree to an extent. There's a lot going on, but it's also done in a really tasteful manner. It's fun seeing her evolution as a designer. This is very much not a Ford Madison kit. It's very much its own thing. It's very carefully thought out. It's very well executed. The balance between the teal and the dark and navy, that can be hard to get right. And she even was able to carve out enough white space for all the other elements. So as a designer, the highest compliment I think I can give a kit is, oh, I wish I had designed that. And this is definitely one of those. It's, honestly, the only thing that I would maybe nitpick about is that the back of the jersey is plain teal. But I think that just speaks to how good that front of the jersey pattern is, right? Because as a fan, you want more of that. Of course, we need to have plain backs for player numbers and names for visibility, but as a fan who's purchasing the kit, sometimes you do wish, oh, I wanted more of that on the back too.
Right. No, because like someone like me, I know Fox, you sometimes would hit player numbers and names and all that stuff. I'm not someone who does that. So I wholeheartedly agree with that whole little bit there. I love full-sided designs, and whenever I'm playing around like on Football Manager, my little kit designer, little creativity thing that I do, I always have it be full pattern on both sides. Because I always like it, even though I know it can be hard if you actually had to put in names and numbers onto it. So I do get it. But for someone like me who's not putting names and numbers on the back, I like a full design throughout. So
yeah, I like the full design, but I definitely understand why teams go with the blank spot, because I do like name sets, and I've been working really hard to like try to find like one of the top players or something like that, or a player that I'm a fan of. So then there's a purpose to it as well.
Yeah,
I always feel like that, is a cool thing to do.
Yeah, adds a little bit of value to this kit, to the kit that you're getting. But for this kit, there isn't really much need to add much value, given that we loved it. It's rated. It's only for $90 on the store, and it's a solid humble kit with the good for the good people at the Aurora up in Minnesota, and it's a store at 55.56. This is, if this is not on your list, or if you're not already bought this, I need to. It's on my list. This is a solid value for a solid kit. This is up there in one of the tops for this year, at least in my perspective.
Agreed.
So honestly, if you want to hear more about this kit, I honestly truly can't speak more to this kit. I just suggest you check out our interview with Cassidy from last week. Goes into more detail about the quilt and kind of the messaging and meaning behind it. And you get to hear us talk with Cassidy herself. So, which was a great time with the three of us. So, I have nothing else to say of that. Austin, is there anything else you want to throw out there before we move on?
I'll just reiterate what you guys said. This is absolutely a kit of the year candidate. It's hard to think of one that, you know, kind of tops this, both in terms of design and in terms of meaning.
Yeah. And that's hard to do. And that's what we love about kits nowadays, is making sure that they have that meaning behind them. So, that is the Minnesota Aura of the USLW and their Brighter Together kit for 2025. So as we move on to the next kit here, this one, funny enough, this actually got accidentally leaked by a different team on accident. Which is honestly, I just think peak USL right there. Honestly, I love that.
Don't you hate it when that happens? When other teams
I figured out how they got that graphic, right? It was just
I know. It's honestly a mystery to everyone involved. Like, no one knows how they got that graphic or how it made it into Final Cut or whatever onto the pamphlet. But man, I
wonder if maybe Kaylor can work his USL magic and find someone who knows.
Hey, we do have I'm gonna draw a blank on their name. I know this. Andy from Orange County out there who can maybe elaborate a little bit further. I believe they do the Orange and Black podcast. So check them out from Orange County, or at least the good folks out there. Anyways, so I just kind of said who we're talking about, Orange County SC. And we're going to talk about their Saddleback Mountain kit. And when I pull this up here, this just looks like what I expect Orange County, with the orange being the predominant color. I like seeing orange teams. There aren't too many of them in the USL, especially since the Rio Grande Valley kind of went under. And even the Dynamo of Houston kind of went away from that a little bit. I like seeing teams commit to orange. It's a unique color, and it always looks good. And always reminds me of the Dutch national team. Even if they're not, it always reminds me of the Dutch. So I like this from Orange County, but I'll let the others talk about it.
Yeah, I absolutely love this coming out of Orange County. I like that it's primarily the orange. This is their home, right? So it's primarily orange, but it also has the fine detailings that's making it local versus just having a plain orange shirt. So, and again, with me, I like the fine detailings that you can't necessarily just see, obviously. So there's the hot air balloon, there's the mountains at the bottom. Everything's kind of finely detailed throughout. And that's something that absolutely this makes this a must have for me personally, because again, you don't see too many orange kids, and it's not too loud, but it is very proud.
Yes. Agreed. It's very Orange County, and I'm here for it.
This kit has exactly what I wanted from that first Loudoun United kit, in that it has the black V-neck and it has the black trim. So right off the bat, it kind of feels more balanced because everything is framed like a picture frame, right? And on top of that, again, I don't know if they're wearing black shorts in game, but in this promotional photo, you have black on the bottom with the shorts too. So it just really lets your eye focus in on that orange. I love that Orange County is leaning into the hot air balloon. It's just so unique. It's not campy. It's very tastefully done, but it's not an animal. It's not waves. It's their own thing, and it's not too wild and crazy yet. You know, for example, here they have the hot air balloon, and it's taking up almost the entire jersey, but they've done it in a tonal orange so that it's not overpowering. From a distance, it just looks like an orange kit, but it's there. And I'm not a local. I'm not an Orange County fan, but I still feel proud of it just looking at it. I can't imagine how much this would mean to someone who, really resonates with that club identity.
Right.
On top of that, the mountains at the bottom are a nice touch to add a little bit more black, but it's all about that hot air balloon.
Yeah. And as soccer enjoyer here, same logo, by the way, of FFSDC. I don't know if it's the same person. The exact same logo. Says, love their new home kit, ties to local community, always liked their kits. And I think this kit epitomizes that kind of whole idea. We always emphasize representing your local community. And in this case, Orange County with that hot air balloon and the Saddleback Mountains. It's not something a lot of people kind of associate with California. A lot of times I kind of forget about the mountain range, literally right in the middle of the right in the middle of the state. So Alberta there. Okay, soccer enjoyer, change your name. I love that. So yeah, I love this kit. This kit's really good looking. And honestly, if you look at my scores here for this one, yes, it's a little bit on the lower side, but as if you watch the show, I tend to have pretty high standards when it comes to how I rate things, and I got to beat the negative one a little bit when it comes to scores. So, because I love everything that we rate on the show, almost. So, but when it comes to that, I do think the overall design and aesthetic is a solid 4. I'd rock this a lot. I do love me some orange kits as a Forge Hamilton fan. I always like their orange that they've done with Macron. I like that. And then when it comes to the authenticity and tradition, because this is so Orange County with the orange, which is distinctly theirs, at least in the USL, it's a solid 5 for me there. And then when it comes to the details, I did only give the 3. Yes, there's that big visual on the balloon in there, and then the mountain range at the bottom. I can only give it a 3 for its visual details, and then only a 3 for innovation. This isn't something. How do I phrase this? I said this earlier. I was talking with Fox about this. This almost seems like, even though it is a good design overall, it seems like something that could be something that's more almost graphic designed on, instead of being like more of that art that is a little different and unique from a kit perspective. Because I'm looking for different ways to do stripes, a different way to do a collar, or a different way to do something that we haven't quite seen. This is just a good designed, I'm going to say image, just for the sake of simplicity, put onto the front that looks really good and detailed. And I think that knocks a little bit for me on the innovation perspective, which gets me to a 3.75. Now tell me how wrong I am. So,
yeah, shame on you. I mean, obviously, you see my score. It's a 5 for me. And it's a 5 for a different reason than Aurora's. Because I feel like this still, what's up, nerds from Andy King? What's up, brother? But I feel like this tells a story of Orange County.
Yeah.
Versus, does it evoke emotions to me personally? No. But I feel like this could evoke emotions from somebody from Orange County. From the area, because the other one, it hit me harder because I'm from the Midwest and technically I'm from the South, and I see the quilting patterns throughout the barns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it hit me personally, but I feel like this could hit me personally if I was from out west. So had to go through my compass real quick. Never eat soggy waffles. Okay, west. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing. I mean, maybe a black collar, if you really want to sell me to make it a 5.5 or something.
But
this is something that Yeah, polo color. I'm a polo guy, you know. And this one would actually look, because sometimes we say that and we're like, but it probably wouldn't look that good with the color. This one actually would look really good with the color.
Agreed.
I can see that. Yeah.
Never
And
met
now
a player.
Austin?
I did not ask anything about players. Andy said never met a player who likes the collar.
Hey, Andy, I will say this. As from a kit perspective, from a non-player, I want collars all day. But to your point, I think Taylor said the same thing, especially when I think when Naples released theirs. I don't want to imagine wearing a collar kit in the hot and soggy, humid summers of Florida. So I kind of get it, but I'm inside my air conditioned 24/7, so not an issue with me.
It's funny. Embroidered badges, I think, are the same. Fans love it. They're like, oh, why do we have to have this iron on? I want an embroidered patch. But like, as a player, you feel all those threads on the inside. That's the absolute worst thing. So,
I never thought about
embroidered badges, collars. You know, you have to make a decision one way or another. You're going to either piss off the players, or you're going to piss off the kit collectors.
You know what? I never thought about that. Yeah, because like I can feel it myself, but I never thought about player. See,
yeah, you're not
Andy agrees
around
with us, but he also knows the players would hate it. Yeah.
This would be an amazing polo version of this, but I mean, this is a 5 for me.
One thing that I think is really difficult for, we're obviously all in the game, in the business. We can talk about stripe patterns and this and that, but this is something that if you're not a soccer fan and you see someone at the grocery store, for example, wearing this, you're going to be intrigued. You're going to walk up to them and be, hey, what's up with the balloon? Is that this balloon? Can you tell? Oh, I didn't know there was soccer. Like, this is going to be a conversation starter, and not because it's loud and some kits are designed to be conversation starters because they're so wild and crazy, but it's not gonna be the same experience. You're gonna be like, oh, what's up with that guy? He's wearing it's so loud. I might want to stay away from him. I don't know what
don't want to talk to that guy.
This is tastefully done. This is something that I think this is really powerful in the way that it's been executed. So not a lot of kits can claim that. So I tend to agree with Fox on this one. There are things that I don't know if I would have given it a purpose, or there are little things that I would have liked to have tweaked, but this is a fantastic kit.
So it's basically a long way to say what I said was wrong, but that's okay. I'm generally wrong on the show.
I never said that.
It was a nice, polite way to say it. It was a nice, polite way to say that everything I wrong was completely wrong. My score may not be completely off base, but what I said was off base. So I get that.
My score's correct, but my words are wrong.
Are off. Yes.
That's what you want to take away.
That's how I'm taking it. So, okay. But if you're Orange County, all I say is this is a 4.38 from us. It gets overall really good praise. This is a fantastic kit. It's up there in one of the better kits of the USL. Even if I didn't give it a high of a score, as a collective, and that's why we do 2 scores, we did a nice aggregate that pushes this to be in the upper echelon of kits. Not quite perfect, but this is a solid kit from Orange County. And we'd love to see more of this from y'all.
Expensive kit.
It is expensive kit, but we've talked about this, though, when it comes to Hummel. And my guess is this is the case here, because this is at a retail of $100. And with the score that we gave it comes out to be a 43.75 value. And I think what we've seen with Hummel this year, especially the ones that are $100-some, they're probably some of the better fabric and some of the better fitting kits that they've released. Outside of design, yes, greater tech, as we've seen with Portland Hearts of Pine. So these are probably really good fitting kits.
Yeah. And Andy makes a good point. It's like, most USL teams don't have a big enough fan base to make a fan version versus a player version. So they're going to be for the players.
Yeah.
And I mean, that makes sense to me. Again, I know based off of my experience with Louisville City, the players are wearing my Adidas kits just the same as I am. So you got to make the kit for the players and order a bunch of them to get a discount and sell them to the fans.
And Andy says we're not Real Madrid or Man United. So,
well,
I honestly...
all the Real Madrid jerseys always end up at Ross. So,
hey, one can dream, Andy. We'll get up there. But I will say here before we move on to our next kit here is that Soccer Enjoyer says they'd wish Loudoun would go with Hummel. Honestly, here's a hot take for me. Stay with Capelli, but I honestly like what they've done out there. I've seen a lot of Hummel, and I think it's slightly diminished some of what they've done in recent years. There's so many teams now for Hummel.
I fear that Hummel is getting kind of too big for its own, like,
at least here in the US.
Yeah, like what it can produce for like creativity wise. Or do you have to pay more money to get somebody? Because if you go with somebody else that I know, they'll work individually with you, but that's going to be hard when you're a smaller US based kit supplier. It's going to be hard when you're working with an entire league all of a sudden to make every kit individualized.
But also what I would say, because Capelli is relatively unknown and Hummel is, I would say, probably the biggest name in the USL when it outside of obviously the big brands, Puma, Adidas, Nike, they have their little footprints throughout the league. But when it comes to the USL specifically, Hummel's the big one right now. And I think I appreciate having those other ones like Macron, Capelli, Quip, little shout out there, my friend, and all these other ones who can help kind of push that envelope to keep Hummel honest. Because as I've said, as Fox also alludes to, I don't want them to get complacent creative wise because of how expansive they've done. So
Hummel just has so many teams now. I feel like they're almost inundated, and they're managing to crank out the kits. But I think this season, especially, we're starting to see a lot of hits like this, but also some misses or some that are like, well, it's fine, but it's not anything notable. So just the sheer quantity is maybe we're starting to get tired of it. Not necessarily it's on Hummel. I think it's the same effect as you see in the MLS with Adidas, right? They roll out 15, 30 new kits at a time, and it's just so hard to keep track. Even though, I think arguably if some of those kits had been released in a vacuum on their own, they would have been a lot more popular. But just having so many at once, it's like, all right, I can only keep track of so many. It's inevitably only one or two or three stand out, and I think maybe we're starting to get to that point with Hummel, which is again, it's not their fault, but it's just kind of how it's being consumed by the fans.
I would 100% agree with that, and I'm hoping Hummel stays honest. I feel like Charlie's picking up providers, particularly out in the Southwest. I've noticed they've been more and more teams out there. They're pushing the envelope. Capelli's doing their thing out in the Northeast with Rhode Island, Loudoun. And I hope they continue to push. And even Indy with Under Armour kind of out in the blue there, kind of continuing to kind of push the envelope a little bit there. But we'll save that for a different episode and maybe have a fun one once we get through all the kits and talk about the different.
That would be a fun conversation. Like, what manufacturer would you like to see? Because would it be cool to see all the teams with classic Kappa looking jerseys? Because I know me and Austin are Kappa boys.
I am not actually, so fun will take on there. But that's kind of a me thing. But that's for a fun later episode, and I fully agree. I'll pin that for a fun time later. But this was the Orange County SC Saddleback Mountain Kit. One of my favorites, at least more subtle kits. I'm going to say more subtle, less loud kits of the year. And
Loudoun.
I know. I almost said it when I said that.
You're like, loud. Duh.
Yeah, I had to emphasize the D at the end. So appreciate from Orange County. Love to see more of the orange. Embrace the orange. So shout out to y'all out there. So, and Andy for dropping the scoop on that a little bit early. in the Discord, which please join if you want to follow us and more of the USL show here. So up next here, we are going to St. Louis, not where this well, where he lives, and we're going to hit up and we're going to ambush in on the St. Louis ambush and check out their 2025 kits. Now, this kit. It didn't have a name.
Very hard to see. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But
Black.
I didn't have a name to it, and so I called it the Black Flames kit. I didn't know what else to call it.
I liked it. Yeah, that's a good solid name for it.
So I called it the Black Flames kit, provided by Volai Sportswear, which I've never heard of them. So honestly, I love that. So I love learning new different teams. And also, just a small. Actually, I'll get back to that a little bit later. But yeah, this kit, the Fox, this is your local team. Actually, technically, there's another one's even closer, but this is your region. So I'll let you lead off here with your thoughts and your score.
There is not one any closer to me anymore because St. Charles no longer plays in League Two. So this is my local team. So the ambush has been around for years, many of years, but they're in the arena soccer.
MASL. Mm-hmm.
The MASL, Major Arena Soccer League. And when they announced that they're coming out with a 2-team, which is what this is, that's going to be playing in the USL League 2, I was like, oh, interesting, because they haven't been outside. So it's going to be interesting to do. So it was really, I've been really following closely to all of this, and it's been really cool to just watch it grow. So they actually play at the university that I graduated with my master's from, too, MOBAP, Missouri Baptist, if y'all don't know. They play at the football field. Yeah, go Patriots, or whatever we are. I don't know. No,
you don't even know.
I'm a Colonel, a Patriot, and a Spartan. Okay, all of my things are all people.
and all mine were abstracts. We were Comets, we were Thunder, and then a Hoosier. So I was a whole bunch of abstract stuff. So
which is a bad word out here. Yeah, I've talked about that before. It just cracks me up because, again, I grew up in Louisville. So, if we said somebody was a Hoosier, it's like, oh, they're from Indiana. That's it. Like, So yeah, he's a Hoosier. He's from across the river. But now apparently it means like redneck or white trash.
That's a new thing to me.
Yeah,
we don't even know what it means here. Honestly, I still debate about it, but
it just means that you're from Indiana.
Yeah, at this point.
There's a whole story about that. Anyways, I'll talk about that later. But yeah, so it was really cool to see them pop out. And honestly, if you ever look at the arena kits that they came out with, they're usually long sleeve and they're really cool design. They have like the St. Louis skyline like at the bottom and stuff like that. They didn't go with that with the black kit, which I was kind of disappointed. But this is kind of just like a cool general kit. Could this have been like AI made? Oh yeah, for sure. But it's just something cool to wear. Does it shout St. Louis? No. Does it tell me that it's the ambush? No. It's just a cool black kit with cool flames going through it. And that's what it is. And the hard thing about this, though, is you can't buy them.
Oh, no.
I know.
At least not these ones.
Yeah, or even the other ones either, because I've seen they used to have it on their website. Then if you go to their website, it tries to send you to a different website, and that website doesn't have anything at all. There's the link doesn't work. So, there's more stuff now. What is that?
This is the actual the MASL team.
Yeah, they had those on the website the last few times that I went.
So it's very limited, this website, but they do have stuff, but it's not the kit that we're rating here tonight. So just want to pop that back in.
Yeah. So it's also interesting that they have the badge too. So it's like FC Ambush or Ambush FC or something like that. So
it's a completely different crest, right? It's a different crest, different identity than the indoor team.
Yeah.
Correct.
They're like, we're one company, but different.
Same name. But that's it.
Right. It's like Ambush, and we're all owned by the same people and stuff like that, but different.
It's kind of like the that Office meme. Where's the difference between these
Oh,
two
what's the
photos?
difference?
It's the
It's the
same
same
photo.
thing.
Yeah.
This one's outside.
Yep.
There's sunlight on this one.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. There's some sunlight. This one has a tan, but otherwise, I mean, like I said, there's nothing special about this. Like, kit collectors aren't going to want out to go and get it. It's just a cool kit.
Yeah.
For like the kids will like it.
Yeah. And rep the team. Honestly, it's a nice contrast to the bright pink of St. Louis, I would say, with this one. With St. Louis City.
Yeah, the city red.
Yes. It's a nice contrast.
But yeah, so I'll jump into my scores. Design and aesthetics, I give this a 4. I think it is really cool looking. Authenticity and tradition, meh. It's a 3. Like, how authentic is it? It's your inaugural year. Maybe next year they'll keep with flames or something like it. But yeah, execution wise, I mean, like, it looks cool to me. Like, I like it. But innovation impact, again, the 3. I could have gone lower, honestly. I don't know if we're going to remember this, and it's, again, the flames are just kind of cool looking. I know it's really hard to see on this Instagram post, and like that's literally the only picture you can find of this kit.
Mm-hmm.
And this one post has like all the goalie kits and all the
has everything on it.
Yeah, all the kits, and it's just like, here's all of our kits.
That's it.
All right,
moving on. Hey, it's more effort than a lot of teams, and who are professional. So I'll give them some kudos, at least.
So so I got a 3.5 from me. Again, being from St. Louis and actually being an Ambush fan, because I've actually gone to a game for the indoor team, and it was really cool to see that we're a part of the USL. Like, I can talk about it, and they actually sent me a jersey.
Nice.
So this is the away kit. It has like the purple going through it. It's kind of just waves. It's a nice comfy kit. It's lightweight. Yeah, that one. Again, I really like. I like it. I like that I get to represent my hometown.
And we'll get more into that a little bit later there, Fotsy.
Yeah, we'll talk about this jersey later. But.
Yes. And during kit show off. But yeah. So you're 3.5. I gave it a similar score of 3.5. I give it a 4 for overall design aesthetics. I would wear this. It looks good. If you can't pick up now, I like white and black, so then I can easily match it and just like accent it with wristbands. It's something that I like to do. As Vots alluded to, it's a 3 for a tradition. It's not. This isn't tying to their team to St. Louis. It's Flames. Everywhere has fire, and it's not like they're called the Calgary Flames or something like up in the NHL. They have fire on them, but they don't. I'm really reconsidering. Nope, screwing it. I'm doing it. I'm breaking my own cardinal rule.
You're changing the score.
I know.
I'm gonna mess up my Canva, dude.
I'll get up. We'll just have to amend it there. I never like doing this. I broke my own cardinal rule.
Wow. What are you thinking?
I changed my visual details and execution from I give it a 4 for some reason, and I didn't give the Orange County kid more than a 3, and I'm like, that's injustice right there. I can't do that. So
maybe here, let me make a case for why you should keep your score as is. I think we talk about the lack of tradition here, and Fox, your context helps. This is a brand new team. It's not associated. It is associated, blah, blah, blah. I don't know how they would make it more ambushy unless they put like crosshairs on it, right? Which is a little bit much. But it's really difficult sometimes to incorporate bright colors into a black kit. And so what they've done here, I think it's really well done. They've managed to get pinks and purples in, and that's not always easy to do. On top of that, the ambush badge is teal. And so that actually pops a little bit even more compared to the bright pink and the bright purple. So, even though it is a little bit generic, you could say it looks like smoke rather than flames. As the designer, I think they've managed to do a lot with a little, if that makes sense. So that's my case, Brett, for why you should keep your score.
I'm keeping it. It's honestly the same, and I don't know if it's just pure dumb luck, but like I give score, I get the vibe of it, and I give a score, and it's hard for me to always get the right words to match the score. But the way that you described it, it probably is what I processed when I saw it. It's just I also have a memory of the golden retriever, so
you had it right the first time, and
yeah.
Fox, you're welcome. No cam changes necessary.
Save the score.
It saved 2 heart attacks right there. So I didn't break a cardinal sin, and you're keeping your social stuff. So yeah, so it's a 4 there for visual details and execution. Great explanation, and that's helped why you're on this show, because you help put fancier words and terminology to
keeping you guys in check here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep us in line.
Yeah.
Yes. But moving on from that, I did give it a 3 for innovation impact. We're not going to remember this. We're not. I would have loved if they would have embraced the teal a little bit more personally, but that is a me personal preference. Given that it's in their crest, there's no teal really in this kit, but that's just a me thing. But yeah, so it's 3-5 for me with a 3-5 from Fox. It's a 3-5. It's nice. That's all I can say about it. It's nice.
Yeah.
What are we looking at? I guess there's no kit value then, right?
Nope.
No kit value because it's free. It's
it's free. I mean, okay. You know, I want to see something. I want to see if this breaks the whole thing.
Oh man, the kit value is going to be amazing.
Nope. If kit value is $0, or let's just say I put it as $5, that kit value explodes to 700, and I'm not doing that. I'm saying for shipping.
Nice.
Shipping. Yeah, that's not happening.
Well,
so,
let's see here. Like, I mean, you could possibly put $85 because that's just based off of what the other kits that they have on their website are going for.
You know what?
So,
this isn't official. So
but,
I'm just give a hypothetical here. If that were the case, kit value would be a 41.48. So if it matched the others, it would be a solid kit value. If it does not, and it's not for sale, it's still going to be a no value for kit value.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm keeping you guys in check again. VoliSport.com/collections. It's $45.
What the?
Oh wait, where's it at? No way. Is it whatever this for life?
Oh, okay. Well, that just completely breaks the kit value if that is the case. Put that into our private chat, Austin, and I'll pull it up so I can confirm. But if that is the case, if that is 100% accurate, this kit value absolutely explodes to 77.78.
Oh, they do Nanny FC?
Oh my god.
I might have to buy me a Nanny jersey too. $36.
Right here. $45. Right here. Now that's the youth jersey. Now
scroll down.
Youth.
I will find this right here. Yeah,
right adults.
Here,
$45.
Same price.
Oh, this is a much better picture too.
Yeah, you didn't really see the flames.
It pops a lot more in the render. Yeah.
Yeah,
a lot more wispy.
Yeah, this makes me like the yeah, $45.
Okay, so then I could justify it, Austin, in my 4 then. I feel even more justified in what you said here.
There you go.
That is amazing. And also, you named this as the away kit. This was the a home kit. It's flipped. So this is actually the away kit. But it doesn't matter for our sake. We know what ones we're talking about.
I need to take back some of my words though. So click on full detail.
Yeah.
And go down to the back of the jersey.
Oh.
I know. So this is actually the same on the white jersey that I'm wearing, but I knew that. And I did not know that it was on there. So this makes me so happy to see.
It does not change my score though. So I
That's
feel
fine.
like it's good.
I
For
thought
me at least, it keeps
like a
all the
3.5 is
things.
still a very good. Yeah, and I feel like a 3.5 is a very like that's what this score is.
Yeah.
But for $45, and you get the
Damn.
St. Louis, you get the, and again, this could easily be an AI generated. I'm not saying it is. I don't want to take away the graphic artist that did this, but and then it has like the city is just a skyline city, and that's just a fleur de lis. But it is shouting out the city, like it is saying something local now.
Yeah.
So that copy.
Awesome.
Go to
I
my
don't know
birthday list. You're the
what we would
best,
do on this
dude.
episode if you didn't keep us in check on here to know about this amazing kit value and about the glorious detail of those flames. Honestly,
is that one of the highest kit values that we've seen?
it's up there. I can tell you that right now. It's certainly up there. So let me double check here. You go to kit value. The absolute highest here was when Lane United's $60 kit was rated a 4.75, and it got a score of 79.17.
It's right up there.
Yeah. And it's not even the same level of like overall good score. This is a great value if you're looking for a good bargain. And this looks really unique. So
yeah,
I'll put it that way.
Honestly, for a price like that, just get it to work out in. Like you don't have to rock it as part of your kit collection. Yes. It's just it can be a beater shirt.
Which is something I started doing. Anytime I do work out, I actually wear kits now.
I did that. I mean, I ran a marathon in my Puma.
You did? But yeah. So before we get more distracted, because this is honestly like mind blowing a little bit. That was the St. Louis City, what we've dubbed, St. Louis Ambush.
And that's St. Louis City.
Flames kit. Yes.
Maybe one day we'll get a W team.
Maybe. And what I will say, so before we move on, here is something from Andy about the saddleback kit. A little bit of fun note here was that the saddleback refers to the two peaks in the nearby mountain range, the Santiago Peak and Modjeska Peak. And the peaks and the ridge between looks like a saddle where when you view it from the coastal side. So that's where the saddleback mountain, the saddleback mountain kit gets its name. Honestly, it's kind of cool, actually. So I've obviously learned so much this year about California and about the geography and all that jazz. So, yeah. So that's fun. Let's move on. So we're going to go to, I think, Fotz's favorite revelations of this year is the fact that this team has more accessible kits in terms of us being able to buy it and not have stupid expensive shipping. And if you know what we're talking about the Miami FC now being on the new USL shop instead of having to pay, $15, $20 for shipping.
No, it was like 30 to ship from Florida.
So shout out to Miami for doing that and working with the USL shop. You're not doing a lot of things right, except lose to Indy twice. But you did do this, and you produced this on the new USL shop, which looks honestly rather nice. So introducing the Miami FC La Ventura kit. And this is just me like weird 90s vibe. And I kind of love it. It's weird. It's unique. But I kind of love that they leaned into it.
Yeah, this is definitely when we were on our chat, people were just drooling over it in the Discord. I think it's really cool. I feel like though, like we were talking about before, that I've seen a Tiger kit before.
I'm trying to draw.
And I can't.
I'm drawing a blank.
Like it's like I've seen this before, but I can't sit there and like, oh, so and so did this. So I'm not going to stick with that argument too much. But it's just a really cool kit. It's a fun kit, and it's not too loud. It goes back to our conversation. It's a cool blue kit.
Yeah.
And then when you look at it, you're like, oh snap! There's a tiger in there.
Panther. Sorry.
Panther. That's what I said. But I guess my question is, in Florida or Miami, like, is there, or like in the detailing at the bottom, is there a reason for the Panther?
Well, the hockey team is the Florida Panthers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the Panther is. Yeah, I'm not a ecologist, but I think there's some sort of significance with that species and being in South Florida.
Okay, that's just like I've wondered about the Florida Panthers too. That's like,
is this the Panther that you might be talking about? Because we saw this from the roots.
Oh yeah, that was Oakland, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Oakland. It's a little different. It's not quite this, but it's something that I did find doing a quick Google search. So
that might be the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah. Hey, they are available for $30 from ProDirectSport.us. So if you're a size small.
If you're a size small. I am not a size small. I need to fix myself and get back to a size large.
Anyways, so about this kit, Fox, obviously we heard a lot of chatter about it. I'm going to pop right into my score here. Again, I'm going to emphasize the Miami FC because they emphasized it themselves. So for this little La Pintura kit, I gave it a 4 for overall design. I said this is actually something that I think overall looks good, but this isn't something that I could see myself wearing. This doesn't seem to fit my vibe, and that's okay. I'm not a South Floridian. I'm not going to be wearing this. So I'm not the targeted audience. So I give it a 4 there.
You're not from South Florida?
Oh, yeah. Who would have guessed? But it's all authenticity and tradition because it leans into these Florida tradition of the Panther, because there aren't really a lot of Panthers or at least any of the nods to Panthers really in soccer. So them kind of going full 90s, it might be a wrong decade. I'm going to just keep saying 90s until I'm proven wrong. And just leaning into that state theme. I give it a 4 there. And according to their website, it goes the La Pintura jersey, the tribute to resilience and South Florida pride, featuring the iconic Florida Panther. This kit honors a creature that defied extinction, like the Miami FC, just as they have faced every challenge head-on over the last decade. There's a little bit of double meaning there. But then when it comes to its visual details, because it kind of seems like it just kind of like got like imprinted on this image on both sides. I only give it a 3 for details, even though it's kind of a detailed panther on it. It seems like more like an image I put on. It's similar to that Peoria kit that we rated like 2 years ago. I think it was Fox, but it's like imposed the skyline on it, but you can tell it's just like a photo. But its innovation and impact, this thing got a lot of noise. A lot of noise.
It got a lot of shout.
Yeah, I give it a 5 for that because this was very not Miami FC. It's a very different blue with that gold crest. This is very big for them and made a lot of noise. So I give it a 5 there. So it's a 4.0 from me.
Obviously, I liked it better because it is my vibe. I feel like this is something that I would easily rock. And the fact that, too, we were talking about this, there's no front sponsor.
I don't think any of the Miami kits have technically front sponsors this year.
Yeah.
I think their cup kit technically did for the Open Cup, but their standard home and away don't.
So, I mean, I think that's something that makes this kit, though, better. I'm trying to think because it does also, to me, make it almost less soccer-y. But, like, I feel like when you think of a soccer kit, you think of some sort of front sponsor.
It looks almost more national team vibe without a sponsor.
National team or just a T-shirt, you know, just like something that you can work out in. But the Panther on there, it's a dope design. I hear and agree with what you're saying. I feel like the design is probably just an image that they put on there and like obviously played with the coloring. No, this is actually a blue panther that they found that just glows blue. But design and aesthetics, like everything about this, it's a 5 for me. Authenticity and tradition, I gave a 4 because I feel like it's giving a shout out to Florida and to the Miami area, but it's not telling me the Miami FC.
Right.
You know, it's not their teal, it's not their orange, it's not the Miami FC. So that's got knocked down for that. Visual execution, though, bam, 5. I like this a lot. Innovation impact, I gave it a 4.
Okay.
But but the impact, I feel like the innovation part is what brought me down because the impact part would probably make it a 5.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I feel like I've seen similar things, and are they really being that innovative by slapping a photo of an animal on the kit and blue in and out? So, but I mean, obviously, you got a great score for me. It's still a 4.5. This is something that I would pick up easily.
Easily.
Especially now that shipping is a decent rate and not going to cost me a whole nother jersey just to ship it. A whole nother St. Louis jersey.
I think it's really telling that, none of us are the Miami FC fans, but we're all considering picking it up. I think that speaks to, how effective this design was.
Yeah.
It is jarring, I have to admit. When you think Miami, you think of that really bright teal, you think of that really bright orange. Mm-hmm. This would be like, to put it in terms that we can understand as Midwestern USL fans, if Indy had a green alternate kit, or if Louisville had an orange third kit, which maybe they have, I don't know. But it's just it doesn't make sense, right? This doesn't make sense, but it works. I had seen the photos of kind of the players in the full kit, and it was paired with black shorts. It reminded me of Inter, of Hamburg, there's another Belgian team that has like the blue and black stripes in the roundel crest.
Brugge, maybe?
Yes, that's it. Exactly. So these are all teams in, European teams that have a very strong sporting tradition that have, performed well at like cup competitions across the continent. So there is something to be said about this. And if this helps the players feel, more confident, then fantastic. I have to say too, in those photos, the sleeve trim and the collar, there's like a blue, black, and blue stripe, or maybe black, blue, and black stripe across the collar, which is a little bit more apparent in those photos. Likewise, that gold, it is really well done. It looks kind of yellow here because it almost looks like a render here, but the gold was done really nicely in the player photo shoots. It can be hard to get right sometimes. It can appear like a tan or like a muted. It was really bright. It was shiny. It was metallic. It was reflective. It's everything you want from a metallic badge. So for what it's worth, I think the details were executed really well. Now, the Panther is interesting because I had, like many people, I was a big fan of this when it first came out. I saw the Panther and was like, well, Panther.
Right.
When it came time to revisit this for the show, I had completely forgotten that the Panther was there, and I saw just this grungy texture pattern. I'm like, okay, that's cool, but what does this mean? It looks cool, it's effective, and then it wasn't until I scrolled down a little bit and zoomed in, like, oh, there's a Panther there.
There it is.
So I don't know if that means it was done well because it's subtle, or not done well enough because it wasn't apparent enough.
Right.
I'll just let you interpret that for however you want. But overall, I think it's a very unique take for Miami FC.
I think I actually had the same reaction when I looked at this kit. I was like, why is it called La Pantura kit again? Like, where's the panther? And like, oh, I found it. It's kind of like, where's Waldo? A little bit. I'm like, oh, where is it? Yeah.
Right.
I
But if
think
you don't get that name, or, I kept calling it a tiger, so I didn't even realize how obviously panther and panthera are in Espanol, but I assume.
No, mi amigo.
I think it's probably safe to say we won't see another kit like this again from Miami, or much less from many other USL teams. So I think we just have to enjoy it while we have it. Enjoy it for the season.
Cult classic.
Maybe pick it up while we can.
Yeah, and maybe a bit of a cult classic because this thing's unique. I'll put it that way. It's very unique, and it will look good in a collection because it's.
Yeah.
I'll add
This
it.
would be something like in 10 years, somebody like, oh, snap, you got that Miami kid? Dope,
Yeah.
man.
And because there's no sponsor on it, honestly, thoughts you to wear this to school. There's no sponsor on it, and I could wear it to work.
Yeah, this is a work shirt. If it was a polo, it'd be professional.
Speaking of that, because this kit is at a nice $89.99, and a solid score of 4.25, this comes out to be a 47.23 kit value. This is pretty good. This is high up there. It's not quite the 77 that we just had for the ambush.
Good job, St. Louis.
Yes. But this is up there. It's not quite the Aura, but like this Macron, I've never had any issues with their kits. They've all fit me really good. I have an older Miami kit. I have some Canadian Premier League kits that are all outfitted by Macron, and they all fit amazing. So you will get good quality regardless of the design itself. So this is a solid pickup in my opinion if you are looking to add something quite unique to your collection. So any final thoughts before we move on from this very unique kit from the Miami FC?
Nah, just good job, Miami. And again, thank you for utilizing the USL website for your shop needs, because I appreciate that.
Yes.
Way to try something different, I think this landed.
Yeah,
taking swings.
Hey, I saw it on Football Americas, so it definitely got some waves there. So anyways, yes, so that is the Miami FC La Pantura kit. Well done from the Miami FC, and hopefully you do some other bangers. Y'all actually outperforming on the field this year, so you just can't beat Indy, so that's okay. But it's progress, I guess. So, yeah, that is all that we had here in store for tonight's show. But before we move on, as I always love to do and want to hamper on, it is Kit Show Off time. But you already started earlier kind of talking about what you were showing off. So I'll let you just take that, and then I'll head up to you, Austin.
Cool. Yeah, so like I was saying, I got the FC ambush from Volia. I got the home jersey, as we now know. And it just has this kind of like cool wavy finger pattern, going through, and it's that purple pinkish color that's a part of the badge.
Yeah.
It's just like a nice, cool design, and the same thing that we talked about earlier has the fleur de lis on the back, and then the St. Louis skyline down the bottom. It's a cool thing to have.
Yeah, it honestly looks like a fingerprint.
I know, it's like
I would want to touch it to feel like, hey, is there little ridges in it, right?
Yeah, I wish. No, it's really thin, and like this would be a really good workout shirt.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like what we talked about. It's supplemented, right? That's the word. Supplemented. Yeah. So, but again, $45. That's how you. Yeah, that's free money, I guess.
The ones don't be added to my list. So just be fully aware of that. Anyways, what you got, Austin?
I should put the away jersey on my birthday list.
Good value.
Yeah.
I am rocking a Dallas Dynamo jersey They are not a
Ooh.
USL club. They are, I believe, in the UPSL. But the reason I picked this up is because it's from a smaller kit manufacturer called Lexa. Um,
Oh, I've heard of them.
yeah,
I've heard of them actually. I can't remember what team, but I remember we rated a kit of theirs
it was
previously.
probably
So
also in Texas. So they're based in Texas. They have
yes.
a pretty decent group of teams down there in kind of like the amateur and semi-pro space. I would really compare them to Diaza in terms
Mm,
of kind of what they're capable of. Um,
yeah.
really nice material. You can see it's a nice kind of 3D badge as well.
Yeah.
I'll stand up so you can see the full detail, but this is the logo, and the pattern goes all the way down,
Oh, that's
and it's
cool.
kind of a fade. So
That looks really good actually.
really cool. Not something that you would expect this level of detail. The pattern almost reminds you of like an Italy Renaissance sort of kit,
Yeah.
but it's black and gold. And again, it's hard to get gold right, and they've gotten it right. So it's interesting that there's not really any Lexa branding, but this is a Lexa jersey. I would highly encourage you check out Lexa. They're one of the big up and coming brands, I would say, much like a Capelli or a Stimulus or Diaza.
All of them. Yeah. Well, oh, I love that. Because, well, got to shout out to all the local brands that we can here, and all the small brands. So one of these times I'll try to go down back to my what's it called? Through my memory vault here and remember. So I've heard of them. I just can't remember exactly where. That name sounds familiar. It rung a bell. Anyways, that kit does look good. So, and what I'm rocking here, it is June. It is Pride Month, and I always ask my wife, "What color do you want me to wear tonight?" And she just looks at me and goes, "Rainbow." I'm
Rainbow.
like, "Bet I can do that." So, rocking this Detroit City FC charity kit from a few years ago, supporting the Olympics up there in Detroit. I don't think this was match worn. This is all pre-game, so couldn't actually rate it, but it was a good deal. And yeah, so I'm rocking this one tonight. I was just in Detroit too. I'll have to show off my new Detroit kit also one of these other episodes. So, but yeah, that's what I'm rocking here tonight.
I did, while you were talking, I looked up why you know Lexa.
Okay.
I'll give you a guess. West Coast or East Coast?
Ohio.
Good guess.
East.
West Coast. SF Glens.
Oh
The Guinness
shoot!
kit was done with by Lexa.
They
Oh.
did the that nice Shamrock kit last year. That green that was really popular.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It had the
They
Guinness
also,
sponsor, I think.
yeah, they also have Glory Soccer, which was in the Midwest Premier
Yes.
League.
Okay,
Because
cool.
I'm going through their teams right now, and so it's like, oh wait, it's like, I know Glory Soccer because I feel like they were actually. That's why I said Ohio because of Denton. That's in Ohio, right?
Who?
I don't know.
Denton?
Actually.
Denton?
Yeah.
No, that's probably Denton, Texas.
Yeah. Ohio.
That makes
It's
sense.
all Ohio.
Everything's Ohio.
Oh, there's a Kentucky team.
Anyways, so while we do some other off-topic research, I do want to say thank you to everyone for tuning in to tonight's episode. It was great having all three of us on here and actually on time, but not on Thursdays because I am too busy apparently once a month. So that is what we have here for y'all tonight. Stay tuned for some great content coming up. We have an interview with Sioux Falls City FC player and kit designer this year, Taylor Thomas of Sioux Falls City FC, and a great interview coming out tomorrow. We also are working on an interview with AFC Ann Arbor that will be getting released next weekend. And we have some more coming up because we don't stop producing some great content and interviewing anybody and everybody from across the USL. So stay tuned. The best way to do that is to like, subscribe, and follow us on all the socials on Blue Sky, Instagram. And the best way to get in contact with us is through the Discord. Or if you really like us, help with the Patreon link down below and purchase the USL Show kit jersey link in the description to help
Sound
the
of the
USL
Forest
Show
kit, I believe
team.
it's called.
The Sound of the Forest kit, I think it was.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the Sound of the Forest kit that this man helped put together for the USL Show team to help them get themselves to Portland, Maine, not Oregon, Portland, Maine, to check out to do a live show up there. So that is it for tonight's show. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. We'll see y'all next week. Thank you and enjoy your night.